guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to come on here and discuss with you all this palette that I recently purchased. It is the Cargo Land Down Under palette. I'm trying to grab it here. This is what the package actually looks like. So it's got the little, I guess that's waves or something on it. I'm not real sure. But it's the Land Down Under palette and it's $34. I purchased mine at Ulta online. This is a very nice palette. I can already tell you that much. So if you want a fast, quick review, I'll tell you that it's really good. I only had one problem with the whole palette, so if you're looking at purchasing it, it's good. I do give it 2 thumbs up. So this palette here has, what is it? There's 12 eyeshadow colors here, and the back of the box has some what the eyeshadows look like, and then it has a couple different eye looks that you can do with it using this palette. So let's get into the palette itself. The palette itself looks like this. It's a white palette with this teal lettering, and then you open it up, it opens up like a flap style, and then it's got a fairly large mirror in here, and it comes with a brush and also a liner, but I have not used either one of those products, to be honest with you, so I can't give you any detail on those. Let me pop those out before I drop those. And then here are all the shadows, what they look like. As you can see, there's some very warm, not really warm, these are like cool tone summer looks, summer colors, I think. Like these blues are really, really pretty for the summer. So let's start swatching this palette so I can give you guys a little swatcheroo of it so you can see how good it works. And what I'm going to do with it is also I'm going to try to not only do a finger swatch, but I'm going to do a brush swatch. So side-by-side comparison so you can see how good the product is using a finger and also using a brush. So we're going to actually use the brush that it came with, just because most people, if they buy a palette, they expect the brush to be able to be used. So this palette here has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this might be a matte too, yes. 6. There's 6 mattes and 6 like shimmer type shades in here. So let's start swatching these so you can see how good this one is, because I really do love it. I am having a hard time figuring out which palette I'm going to take with me now on our vacation. I don't know if I want to take this one or the Lorac. I don't know. They're all so beautiful and I know I can't take them all. So anyway, let's start with this first shade here, which is the name of this shade is Joey. So I'm going to put my finger in it and swirl it around and do a swatch right here on my hand. So as you can see, this is like this, almost like a skin color shade. So there's what it looks like using a finger. And then now we're going to go back and use the brush, and we're going to take the brush and dip into this and get enough product on it. And then we're going to put the product, I'm trying to do it in a way that you can still see it. Put the product on, and you can see, it's hard to do it that way. You can see using a brush, it still shows up fairly well. It's not going to be as bold as the finger swatch, but it still shows up pretty well. And for a color that's already almost my skin tone, you know, it's showing up pretty good. Okay, so now let's clean the little brush using the color switch. And let's move on to the next color. The next color in the palette is called Beach. And Beach is like a gold color right here. So there is Beach. And then let's do a little finger swatch. So there's what it looks like on my finger. And then let's put that on my hand. Make sure my hand is nice and dry. And I'll put that on my hand so you can see it. So there is Beach. Beach is a little bit of a shimmer, you can tell right there. It's a really pretty gold color. It's a very light gold. So now let's go back in with the cleaned brush and do a swatch using the brush. So we'll get some onto the brush here. This is the one that I have a problem with, because you'll see it as I'm dipping into it here. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. As I'm dipping into it, it's like, you can see the brush itself, like the product is kind of like clumpy onto the brush. I don't think this is a very good shadow right there as far as using it with a brush, because you'll see also as I'm putting it on, it kind of like just falls right back off. So there it is swatched. It's very, very muted here. This one's a lot more bold, but of course it's a finger swatch. I just think that shadow there is too thick. It's got a lot of coarse product in it, which makes it a little bit harder to use on your eyes because it's going to kind of fall out a little bit. So I think if you use a good primer, then it might work. It probably should work well. So the next color we're going to go to is Suntan. And Suntan is more of like a bronzy color. And that is Suntan right there. So now we'll swatch that shade. And here is Suntan on my finger. And then Suntan swatched. Suntan is gorgeous. Look at Suntan. Suntan's that really pretty bronzy color. And it shimmers with you a little bit. Now let's do it with the brush. Put the brush into it. And I have cleaned it using the color switch, so the brush is clean. And you'll see that even using the brush, it does a good job. So that's a great color right there. I think that one's a really, really nice one. I really do think that's a nice shade right here. And it blended well both with your finger and with the brush. I think both are very comparable. So I don't think there's a big difference in quality for that one. Now let's go ahead and clean our brush and wipe my hand and move on to the next shade. The next shade is Opera, and Opera is this shade right here, and this is a matte. And let's put my finger in it. And here it is on my finger and on my hand. On my hand, again, this is another color that kind of looks like my skin, so it's going to be hard to see. So there's a couple skin tone colors in here that are my skin tone colors, so they're great to lay down as a base. So let's go in with the color switch and clean this brush off. And go back into Opera with the brush. And I'm going to lay that down. And you'll see that they're very comparable. I mean, you can't tell a difference, honestly. This one might be just a tad darker than this one, which is the brush swatch right here. So again, I think that's a really nice color right there. I think that one worked out well. It's a matte, so it's not going to lay down like, you know, like the shimmers do. It's going to lay down a little bit differently. The next shade is Koala, and Koala is right here. It looks more like it's like a brown green almost. So let's swatch that on my finger. And here that is on my finger right here. Okay, so now I'll swatch that on my hand. This one is really, really pretty. Look at that color. That's really nice. Looks like an army green almost. And now we'll make sure the brush is clean, use the color switch, and go into Koala with the brush. So here it is on the brush, and then here it is on my hand. You'll see that there's a little bit of fallout with this one when you use the brush. You'll see the fallout down here, but it's not terrible. And the colors are very comparable considering this is finger swatch and this is brush swatch. I think they did a good job, both of them did. So far this palette to me seems pretty good. I think it's definitely worth the money so far. What do you guys think so far? Okay, moving on to the next shade, which is Sand. Sand is like a peachy brown right here. And finger swatch. And this one is a little bit of a shimmer right here on my finger. And then swatched on my hand. And let's get a little bit more because my hand was still a little bit wet. So here it is there. See, it's like a gold peachy color. You can see the shimmer into it. That's a really pretty color. Clean the brush and dip the brush into it. And here it is on the brush. And now I'll sweep that along my hand. And again, it showed up almost the same exact way. So both of these look very, very similar. So I think they came off from finger swatch to brush swatch looking very, very similar. So I think these are coming off really, really nicely. So I don't think that you're going to have a whole lot of problems using these with your brushes. And this brush, like I said, is the brush that it came with. So it looks like this brush is going to work just fine with it. The next shade is called the Rocks. And the Rocks is like a basic brown. It's like a dark brown. And then swatch that on my hand. And here it is swatched. This one seems a little patchy right now, but I think my hand's wet. So let's dry my hand off and try that again. Let's try that again. I don't want to give you all bad swatches just because my hand was a little wet. All right, so let's try that one again. And that was called the Rocks. So again, I'll put my finger in there. And there's the swatch. And then, yeah, it's a lot better now. It's not as patchy. It looks really, really nice. Right here is just where it's a little bit more. So as you notice, it looks really nice there. And then with the brush, let's see how it looks. So clean the brush and put this onto the brush, the Rocks. And Now this one looks like it might be a little bit lighter. It's not quite as dark as this one is, which is the finger swatch. This is the brush swatch. The brush swatch seems a little bit lighter, so it's not coming off quite as opaque as the other one. It's not coming off with quite as much color. So now let's clean all this off and go into the next color. And the next color that we have in here is called Bridge. And Bridge is like a, what is that? It's like a brown, but it looks like it might have a, yeah, this one has shimmer into it. So this is going to be like more like a copper again. So this is a copper. And I will swatch that with my finger. And there is the finger swatch. And then here is, oh, that one's really pretty. It's like a gold copper. It's really, really pretty. So now let's go in with the brush. And yeah, this one's got a little bit of fallout, even though it is a more of a not a shimmer, but like a satin, I guess you'd say that is. But you can see all the fallout that came from that one. And I probably should have tapped off the brush maybe. Maybe that would have prevented some of that. But I didn't do that with any of the others. So that's just showing you that one has a little more fallout than the others when you use a brush. But I'm sure I think most eyeshadows you can use wet. So I think if you use it wet, it probably wouldn't have quite as much fallout. So if that is something that you're interested in. The next color is called Domain. And Domain is like a green. And we'll swatch that one with our finger. And here is Domain. Domain's a really, really pretty color. Oh, my hand's still a little bit wet. Let's re-swatch. Try that again. Domain. Oh, that one is patchy on with the finger swatch. So let's see how good it does with the brush swatch. See, right here's where it started. Let's see if we can try that and show it to you on camera so you can see how it's swatched. See how it's a little splotchy right in there? I'm not sure that it did that on my eyes. I don't remember having a problem with it. So let's see how good it does with the brush. Oh, wow. I must have really built up the pigment on that one, because the pigment on this is not coming off the same color. This is coming off more like a deeper green, and these are coming off more of like a summery green. Can you see the difference in color there? I don't think the brush swatch is coming off quite the same color. It looks like it has a little bit of a different color to it. And I did clean the brush. I did use the color switch to clean the brush. So there was nothing on the brush. That is just the color itself. So that's a little strange to me, honestly. Now we're going to go into the next one, and it's called Manly. Manly is this turquoise color here. And let's swatch that with my finger. And here is, I'm trying to hold the brush and everything. There is Manly. And now we'll swatch that on my hand. Oh yeah, that one's really pretty. There is Manly. Manly looks a little splotchy up in here, but my hand I feel is a little bit wet. So let's make sure it's dry. And do that again. Just so you can get good swatches of it. Yeah, see, it's not coming. Oh no, it's still a little patchy. I'm thinking this palette doesn't swatch as well as what it wears, because it is what I'm wearing on my eyes today. And I had no problem, so I'm not sure why this isn't swatching as well as what it wears. I don't know. That's strange. And then here is the color. And again, we're having the same issue here. As I'm putting it on, I can see that the color's not quite as opaque as it was for the here. Do you see it's a little bit lighter? But I mean, that's normal when using finger swatch to brush swatch. So these two are the finger swatches and this is the brush swatch. So you can see how it's not quite as deep as the other two. But that is normal. So because a finger swatch is going to give you a lot more product to look at versus a brush swatch, it's only picking up so much. We have two more colors to go to and then we'll be done. The next one is Bondi. Bondi is this blue color right here. And Bondi finger swatch looks like this. There is, that's a very odd hand gesture there, isn't it? There's Bondi. And then Bondi on my hand. Bondi swatched really, really well. Bondi looks really nice. So now let's do the brush swatch. Let's make sure it's clean. And here it is on the brush. Yeah, this one works really well too. It's got a little bit of fallout there, if you can see where it's kind of like falling out on the sides. But that's normal. I don't mind fallout. I've always said that before. I think if you've ever seen any of my other videos, you know I don't mind fallout. It's the problem I always have with product is if it's not enough opacity to it. If you have to keep building and building to get a good color, I don't like it then. And this one, I don't feel like I had to build too much. So, and I got this eye look within like 5 minutes. So it was a very simple eye look. The last color in this palette that we're going to swatch is called Fairy, and Fairy is right here. And it looks like a purpley brown. And let's make sure my hand's dry. Oh yeah, this one's really pretty. So there is Fairy. Fairy's really, really pretty. Do you see how it's got like a little bit of purple, a little bit of brown to that? That's a really unique color. And then using the brush, again, we have some fallout. This is a matte, so I don't know if the mattes are what's causing most of the fallout, but this one does have a little bit of fallout here. And it looks a little patchy on my hand, so you can see the patchiness and how it fell out a little bit around here. Again, I don't feel like these acted the same way on the eye as they do swatching them, so I don't know if that's just because it's a bigger area that I'm swatching here. I'm not sure what's going on with that, honestly. I do enjoy the palette, but as you can see, there are some ones that are swatching a little peculiar. So I think this is a good palette. I don't think that it's a necessity. I don't think you have to have this palette. I don't think it's something that you have to go pick up. I think it's nice. I'm glad to have it, but I don't think it's something that's necessary. I think I will enjoy playing with it because I do like the colors to it. I like the cool tone colors. I really like the blue and the greens. I think it's going to be a fun palette to play with for the summer, but I don't think it's a necessity. So if you're looking at getting this, I would definitely go swatch it yourself before you pick it up to make sure it's something that you're actually really going to use. I know Ulta does not have it in store. Ulta, you can only buy it online. So if you really want to swatch it and you have a Kohl's near you, go check it out at Kohl's because Kohl's has it also and you can actually swatch it there so you can see the quality for yourself. But other than that, I think it's a nice palette. I just don't think it's something that you absolutely have to have. I think it's nice and it's pretty. So, and for Cargo has usually, like, some of their products are really good and some are like mediocre. I would say out of a 10-point score here, I would give this palette here probably a 6. I don't think it's perfect, but I don't think it's completely flawed. So I think it's good. You might want to just go check it out yourself and swatch it and see what you think about it. If you guys have ever tried this palette and you have any suggestions or eye looks that you'd like to see, let me know because I would definitely love to do an eye look for you all using this palette. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this palette. And until next time, I'll catch you guys tomorrow.